This is the story of how buying one car almost got me robbed and potentially skewered like Vors on a price stand. So if you're familiar with my 2013 Mazda 3 Sport Dynamic that I did a video of, then that I've been using in a lot of my content in the past, you'd know that in the reveal video for that car that I filmed about now 6 to 8 months ago, you'd remember that in the reveal video I said that I got robbed in the process of trying to buy that car. So this is that story. And if you're not familiar with the car or you're not familiar with the channel in general, you're new to the channel, you can just go check that video out. It'll pop out on one of these sites. If it didn't pop up, then just go scroll on the channel. You should find a video with the Mazda as the thumbnail and you can take it from there. And just to premise this, we will be washing the Beamer in the process of me just telling the story. So don't get surprised when you see me washing the Beamer while I'm telling the story. The story begins it was late June, early July, and I had planned to buy a car. This was during recess, so I was off school. I was here at home. I think it was a week before school opened. Planned to just buy the car and then use it in Johannesburg because I had a lot of things to do with the business to do. So I coincided the time of buying the car with the time of all those errands that I had to run. So obviously I'm here at home and now I need to go back to Joburg in order to buy the car, obviously in order to have access to We Buy Cars and a whole bunch of other dealerships, but mainly We Buy Cars because that's how I chose to buy that car. So at this point I had been using taxis to go to and from Jozi. That's what you do in South Africa. If you don't have a car, you use the National Transportation System, which is the piece of art that is the Toyota Quantum. But yeah, got on a taxi. I know it was 11 o'clock and I got to Jozi at about 3 o'clock, like 3:30. So that gives you a time scale as to how long it takes to get there. So my thoughts going into Jozi with the taxi was that it was going to go to a taxi rank that I was familiar with. Then I'd be able to find somewhere to go and call an Uber that could take me to Parktown where I stayed at the time. But the taxi didn't do that. It stopped at a completely random rank, if you can even call it that. It was just a place where a lot of taxis were parked up deep in the heart of Hillbrook, where we know a lot of stabby action happens, of course. But yeah, that was the situation. I get off the taxi, surprised as all hell, just asking myself, what am I supposed to do right now? And because this was my first day in Jozi, I'll admit to not being as street smart as maybe I should have been, because the sequence of events that followed after me getting off the taxi are just kind of insane, if I'm being completely honest. So I get off the taxi, but before getting off the taxi, it's almost like I felt it in my bones that something bad was going to happen to me, because what I did before getting off the taxi was I had two bags. I had a big duffel bag and a small backpack. So I put all of my valuable stuff in my big duffel bag. At the time I carried two phones, so I put the phone that I'm using to film now, which is my iPhone 12 Pro Max. I put that in the duffel bag, put my laptop in there, I think, put my wallet in there if I'm not mistaken. And the only thing I was carrying on my person was like 90 rands and my Android. Now mind you, this is like a 3,000 rand phone. It's not really something light that I can just throw away, but it would have been better at that point than losing the iPhone, because the iPhone was just way more useful to me and I'd have to go through insurance. So I get off the taxi and I know this is really dumb, but bear with me here. I get off the taxi and I pull my phone out in the middle of all this business that is happening. Instead of the alternative, which is what I should have done, which is what normal people do, is just find a secluded place like a KFC or like some kind of shop, go inside, then use your phone. But because of my, maybe, I don't know if you can call it naivety or I don't know what to call it, but yeah, at that moment I pulled my phone out and requested a Bolt. But I made sure I was like trying to hide my phone. Turns out I wasn't really that successful in that journey, but yeah, the Bolt was ordered, it was coming. So I put my phone back in my pocket and I wait for the Bolt. This is when I suspect I was spotted, because I was wearing quite, let me just say, youthful clothing. I was like a shining beacon, just calling out, just rob me. Rob me. But anyway, yeah, now I'm waiting there for the Bolt to arrive. It arrives now. I look at the number plates, I look at the car make, then I put my phone back and try to go out on the street to look for it, and someone offers to help me. Yeah, this is the classic story, I know, but I was still very naive, I was still very fresh, and I'm better now, I promise. But someone offers to help me and I accept. For some reason, we walk out of that little rank and the taxi marshals that are there, they stop both of us and they ask me where I'm going, if I called an Uber or something. But at that moment, because of reasons I think you guys know, I just said no, a friend is coming to fetch me. It's not a Bolt or anything like that. So now I am wary of the taxi marshals not noticing that I'm going into a Bolt, because I know what could happen in that situation. Instead of being wary of the person that is sticking by my side right now, trying to help me get to my Bolt. So yeah, I finished talking to the taxi marshals. Taxi marshals are kind of like telling this guy to like stop. They're kind of trying to like hold him, like you stay here and then I go. For some reason they couldn't, and he walked with me to the Bolt. At this point the Bolt had arrived. Where the taxi marshals were was like opposite the Bolt at this point. So I walked across the streets with this guy. When I get to the back of the Bolt, I immediately opened the boot and put both my bags in and closed the boot. I don't know if it was instinct or ancestors or what it was, but yeah, that was what I chose to do in that moment, is just get there, put everything in the boot and close the boot, so that I knew that all of my really valuable stuff was safe, relatively speaking. And then he was like, you need to thank me. Obviously didn't say it in English, that'd be crazy, but he said, yeah, you need to thank me for helping you and stuff like that. And he said, you need to thank me with 100 rand. Like I said to you guys, I only had 90 rand in my pocket. At this point I'd never been robbed in Jozi before. Like I said, I'd only been there for 6 months at that point. And during that 6 months, I was relatively isolated to the more, let me say, unfriendly part of Johannesburg. So I didn't know what was happening at that particular moment. At this particular moment, I'm kind of like, that is weirdly a high number for you just wanting to be thanked for helping me. But okay, cool. I just tell him I don't have that money right now. I'll just give you what I have. And then he pulls out a knife and I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, so this is what is happening. I'm about to get stabbed for my own valuables right now. This is nice. But yeah, he pulls out a knife and I immediately just recognize that this is the situation that I'm in, that I am getting mugged right now. It's happening for the first time ever. To be honest, in that moment, nothing ran through my mind. I know people in those moments are like, yeah, in the moment I thought of my options. Was I going to run or whatever? In that moment, my mind was numb. It wasn't even fear. I don't know what to call the feeling. I've never felt like that before and after, funny enough, but my mind kind of froze. I wasn't thinking of anything else. I was kind of just focused on the situation. And I had noticed that there was someone else sitting near me. You could see that they were together, like these guys were kind of working together. So I didn't have any options at that point. It's either get stabbed or just go with whatever this guy wants you to do and hopefully go home alive. So at that point, after I tell him that I don't really have that 100 rand and I can pay him with whatever I have, he's like, yeah, just kind of empty your pockets and give me your phone also. And then I was like, oh, so he saw my phone. Okay, joy of joys. I've been watched this entire time and now I'm getting robbed for everything on my body. That's good. That's nice. That is the South Africa that I signed up for. But yeah, he took my phone. He took the 90 rand that was in my shirt pocket. I also pulled my watch off, funny enough, and put it in my duffel bag. I don't know, I think I kind of sensed that I was gonna get robbed. Like pulling up to the place, I saw that it was really dangerous. And that was it basically. He robbed me and then said something, I think it was a swear word or I don't remember really, and then it just kind of disappeared. And I went to my boat just kind of surprised that, wow, did I just get robbed that easily? This is crazy. This is why guns are necessary in life. But yeah, that was the situation. And I told my boat driver and he's like, you should have told me and whatever. You know, hindsight is 2020. I probably shouldn't have put myself in that situation to begin with. But yeah, that's how it went down. That's how trying to buy 2013 Mazda 3 got me robbed. And if you watch that episode, you'll see that I do talk about it a little bit, and I do go to buy a new phone and all that before buying the car. But yeah, this is the more extended version of that story. Lessons from that story is just don't put yourself in situations like that. An ounce of prevention is better than a ton of cure. Just make sure you are never in a situation where you feel like you're at risk. Like, I never want to see myself being in an area where I feel like I'm going to get robbed, if that makes sense. And I know we live in Jozi, you can quite literally get robbed anywhere, like anywhere, but there are high crime risk areas which we know here, Chief, it's like 100% guaranteed you're gonna get robbed here. So that was the first thing that kind of stuck in my mind. It's just don't put yourself in positions or places like that. Don't put yourself at risk unnecessarily, which, you know, that helps having a car. Unfortunately, our taxi ranks are very dilapidated, especially for the long distance trips. That is kind of relatively unavoidable. But yeah, now that I have a car, I kind of do have the option, or the privilege I should say, to kind of avoid those types of areas, the CBD areas and the hill brews and all those types of places. Number two is just be more street smart. Like that just applies to anyone living in Jozi. That's a lesson that unfortunately a lot of us learned really hard and really quickly. It's just be very street smart with how you move with purpose wherever you're going. Move like you know where you're going. Make sure none of your possessions are ever visible, like ever. In fact, just avoid carrying any possessions in the first place. Buy like a 100 rand phone if you need your phone and go on with your life peacefully, not fearing anything. Because the probability of you getting robbed in Jozi in general is pretty high. In fact, anywhere you are. So just being cautious of how you move, what you're carrying on your person, where you go and stuff like that is really important. But yeah, that was the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I will be pumping out more car reviews in the future. I'm just trying to access some cars right now. It is really difficult living in this rural area and trying to find like cars to review, but I am trying. And yeah, man, I kind of just wanted to share this story. I know you guys are probably gonna enjoy it, laughing at my pain and that. But yeah, that was it for the video. Thanks for watching.